Hi sewing friends, welcome to my sewing room. My name is Beth, and if you're new, welcome. Today I'm going to be making a lot of half square triangles. Sort of like this quilt behind me, I'm going to be taking two pieces of fabric, one background fabric, and a couple of different prints, and I'll be using some paper. This is a great way to make a lot of half square triangles. Quite frequently on my channel, I'll use squares. I'll draw a line and sew on either side for some of my scrappy blocks, but today I'm going to be making a lot. So I want to use this paper. This video is not sponsored, but the paper roll, triangle on a roll, I think it's called, will be in my Amazon shop. Maybe you've seen it at the sewing shops as well. I'll show you how I use this paper to make half square triangles. Let's get started. For my little project today, I am using a piece of one of these long strips of paper to make some half square triangles, and I'm going to cut carefully along one of these lines. I need to cut right on that line to get an exact size on my half square triangle, and then my fabric is just a little bit bigger than I need. So it's 6 inches wide, the paper is 6 inches wide, and my fabric is almost 7 inches wide, just to give me some extra fabric to, because I'll be trimming later. So I'm going to cut some of this pretty green and blue, and then I have some white fabric for my background. I'm going to put my right sides together, my background fabric and this pretty green, and I'm going to lay the triangle paper right on top, and I will be pinning in the areas that do not have the broken sewing line. So I'm going to try to avoid my sewing line, but I'm going to get this paper secure onto my fabric. This paper is pretty self-explanatory. All I have to do is sew right on top of that sewing line all the way around. And sometimes you go straight across, and sometimes you are able to pivot the fabric and continue on with your sewing line. It really takes no time at all to follow these lines. They have arrows, but I'm not sure you really need to go the way the arrow tells you to go. I'm a little rebellious sometimes. If it tells me to go that way, maybe I'll try it the other way and see what happens. I didn't have any trouble when I sewed the opposite direction. Getting all my sewing lines in, I'm going to trim, and I realized, you know what, I need to take those pins out because my ruler doesn't work really well on top of those pins. So I need to take the pins out first, and then I will be cutting along all of those straight lines. And it is a little tricky to be exact, but it is important with this project to be exact on this cutting. We want to be exact in this because when we're done sewing and trimming, these blocks will all be exactly 2.5 inches. After cutting around the outside, I'm going to cut my pieces in squares, and then there's also a solid line right through the middle of the square to make the half square triangle. After getting all of my triangles cut, I'll rip that paper off and I'll be ready to press. Here's my second piece of fabric. So I will have a blue set of half square triangles and a green set. I haven't used this paper in quite a while, and I forgot that I really should have cut the tails off of these half square triangles. It's a little bit easier if you do it before the paper's off. You're going to see a little later I went back and I cut all the tails off after everything was pressed. But this is one way you could do it ahead of time before pulling that paper off. Here are my half square triangles. I'm gonna do a little experimenting, laying them out for a table mat, a small quilt. I have the green half square triangles pointing in and the blues are pointing out. I think this will make a beautiful table mat with these gorgeous fabrics, this blue and green. So I hope this inspires you to try another way to make half square triangles. It goes really quick and you can just make a lot in one sitting. It's not quite as scrappy as I typically make, but it sure is pretty. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.